Well, the commentary points on the TT course when Manx Radio took over the commentary was Ballacrane, on the traffic lights there at Ballacrane, then through to Ballaft Bridge, which was the domain of Fred Clark and Jeff Cannell later on, and then it was the Bungalow. The Bungalow was always a commentary position, and certainly it was a fantastic viewing area for the area that the commentary box was located in and around where we're standing now, because you could look back and see the boys sweeping round the veranda, the last of the four right-handers there, which take you into then the Les Graham Memorial, and then into view as this motorcyclist is now. You'd be able to get him then coming down to go through the left and right off the Bungalow. And it was critical because the timekeeping then was done on pen, paper and stopwatch, and the timekeepers were always up to the pace about getting it absolutely right. There was an absolutely memorable moment in 1990. It was the 250 race. Steve Hislop had never won a 250. He was starting at about, I think, number 4 or number 2, very early up the order anyway, and was well ahead on the road. But starting at 17 on Ray Cowles' 250 Yamaha was Ian Locker, and we were waiting for Ian Locker. Steve Hislop would be well through the Bungalow by that time, and heading towards Crunknamona, Signpost, Bedstead, the Nuke and Governor's Bridge, and what appeared to be a certain victory. But Ian Locker put in an absolutely stunning last lap, and Dave Phillips on the watches was the first to pick it up. He said he's about 5 or 6 seconds coming out of the veranda, he said, than he has been on previous laps. He said this could be an absolute flyer. I went on air live and indicated that, and probably there'd be a few people around the circuit shaking their head. Locker came through, absolutely hanging it out on the left and the right and away, tucked in behind the bubble, heading up towards the Brandywell, and certainly Dave confirmed it. He is on lap record pace, he said. It was picked up at the grandstand by the late great Peter Neal then, and he had the countdown to do then to see whether Steve Hislop, who had crossed the line and was just sitting waiting there to see whether Ian Locker could do it. He did, and it's part of TT history. 117 he went on a 250 on the last lap on Ray Cowles' machinery, and pipped Steve Hislop and denied him for ever winning a 250 class round the mountain course. So that was an absolute gem of a bit of a commentary to be involved in. But inevitably what happened as the bikes got quicker, there wasn't enough time here from the Bungalow to even get 2 or 3 riders through before, as the speeds upped in the early 90s, to get them through to the start finish. So they had to revise the commentary positions. Out went Ballacrane, in came Glen Helen, out went the Bungalow, and in came Ramsey Hairpin. So back down, and Royster was out of a job again. The vast number of people come here in TT Week to honour Joey Dunlop, because across the road on the old aviation site, which was Murray's Motorcycle Museum, is the statue to Joey Dunlop. And as we speak, there's a couple there just gone in the car and gone up, and now are taking photographs and paying homage to the 26 times TT winner. You'll see that the mural, as Hilda Ogden would call it, is off your man Joey Dunlop, and that place will be absolutely thronged with people in TT Week and Grand Prix Week as well. Ray Cowles, you never saw him without a pipe in his mouth, and Joey, with his distinctive Irish brawl, the standard thing amongst everybody was that they talked to one another for all those years and never understood one another, but they had a terrific friendship. And as you've been in and around the grandstand, you'll see that they usually have a celebrity to start the races, and they're totally unaware of what they've got to do. So the chief timekeeper, who at the time would probably be John Stott, was actually in the starting booth. The boys were on the line, ready to go, ready to race, the engines running as they are now, not the old bump start of the old days. And certainly the celebrity who was involved, probably from the company that was sponsoring the race, said, "What do I do?" So John Stott got the flag out, got it into the box, and he said, "Well, what you do is," he said, "you don't drop the flag." He said, "You do the flag upwards like that." And as he did it, Phil Snaefell and Nigel Barton just set off because they thought that was the start of the race, and they head off down Bray Hill. John Stott, I think, had a heart attack because he then had to do all the conflicting timing from when they started, and then of course the rest of the field set off behind them. Of course, forums and Facebook and all that, people would hear you say different and stupid things on the radio in the course of the commentary. Ramsey Hairpin was one of the beauties, like how on earth it was like that. But we were at the Bungalow and the race was delayed and nobody knew why, and then all of a sudden I looked back down the road and there was two Isle of Man were towing a truck. And that was the reason the race had been delayed. He'd been delivering to Ramsey, to the supermarket down there. And certainly Peter Neal said, I think Roy Moore has got a bit of an insight as to why the race has been delayed. And by that time the truck with the tow had come and he were going to take them off the course at the Bungalow and collect them later. And I said, it appears as though there's a large delivery truck doing there. I said, I don't know what it's selling or where it's been. I said, it might be condoms, because it's got Safeways on the side. And that went down in the annals of history. The boys were quick to remind me about that one, but that's not one that's in RoyMooreisms, but certainly one that comes to light as we're stood up here at the Bungalow. Got to get your braking right for Cregnabar. The dusty roads and the bikes coming down in, hard braking down the right-hander and then off down through Sunny Orchard and through down to Brandish Corner. That there's views of spectators sitting on the roofs of the Cregnabar Hotel, or the Kettle as it was then, watching the races.